Like stepping into motherhood was my first glimpse into, wow, who I once was and how I once felt is not who I am anymore and how I feel anymore. What were habits that were serving me at one point in my life were no longer helping me anymore.
When we're going through puberty, basically from like 11 to 14, nobody tells us any of this.
Well, you had some babies and you're postpartum and things change and you kind of just have to manage it as it goes. And that's just not the truth.
A healthy woman should be full of energy. We should be able to keep up and beat our kids in a race,
Yeah.
All right, today's a fun one. I have a dear friend, Erin, who I just met this summer through the Brand Builders group, which you guys have heard me talk about that quite a bit. An amazing group of entrepreneurs. And we were talking about kind of what is our average audience? Who are we talking to? And she said, overwhelmed moms. And I was like, ding, 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 we have a match. So Erin is amazing. She's a mom herself to 4 kids from ages 4 to 13. I mean, the whole range, she's in it. She's the host of the Empowered Health podcast for overwhelmed moms who want to improve their whole self. And it's not just the fitness routine. We're talking everything from hormones to diet to sleep, you name it. And really helping them do the necessary unlearning that comes to wellness. So often than not, we've been programmed the wrong way. And so she's helping us fix that. And really, we're going into education, connection, support, and coaching that she offers to really help empower women. So today's going to be a fun one. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty. But I wanted to start out with, you're on episode 143 of your podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Marina. Oh my gosh, so kind of you.
I was like, what? When did you start the podcast?
So I started my podcast at the end of 2021, just kind of out of nowhere. I decided, I love to speak. Yeah. I love to talk to other people, interview them, hear their stories, just connect on all kinds of different topics. And so one day I just decided, I really want to start a podcast and just see where it goes from there. So I just hit play and started recording and have kind of never stopped. I mean, that's my gift. I'm consistent. I am still in this place of really trying to figure out how to craft my message and really continue to build my audience and reach women with the powerful things that I want to continue to connect on. But it's been a journey.
Amazing. Yeah. And what do you do when you want to give up? Have you had those moments yet where you were like, is this worth it? Like, how do you get through it?
Yes, I definitely have those moments, especially in some of those seasons where I feel like I'm just not sure what to talk about or what's going to really serve someone else, or how can I really speak through my experience that is actually going to translate into someone else's life and essentially help them feel validated or seen or heard or whatever. So in those moments when I feel like I want to give up, most often I really think of the person on the other side. Like I think about who I once was. I think about the moments where I have felt really broken and alone on my motherhood journey and my health journey. And I think really hard to those specific places because that gives me the energy and kind of that recalibration I need to continue to show up. Because I know that there are women and people on the other side that are listening to a podcast that really need to feel encouraged, need to feel empowered, need to hear that they're not the only one. And that's what keeps me going.
Amazing. I'm so glad that you're doing it. And that's the same reason why I started. I felt lonely personally. And I was like, surely I'm not the only one dealing with all these struggles. Like, let's just break it down and be real with each other that we're not all perfect online. There is a real shit show behind the scenes. Let's just try to improve the shit show. That's kind of
totally.
Okay. Well, let's talk kind of about some of the health things that you talk about on your podcast a lot and through your coaching. Hormone health. We know that it's a big deal. And I recently just had my personal naturopathic doctor on a couple of weeks ago to talk about this, but I want to hear from you. Like, what is it? What is the hormone health that we need to be aware of for the 35 to 45-year-old woman? What changes are we experiencing if we haven't done it yet? What do we need to look for? Like, give me your inside scoop.
So the inside scoop. So just to kind of back it up, I'll share a little bit of my story and really what even introduced me to the idea of understanding hormone health, understanding what really happens as we get into this midlife season and how we can continue to take care of our wellness. So for me, I'm a mom of 4, as Marina shared. My kiddos are 4 to 13. So I've been a mom a little over 13 years. And each of my postpartum journeys were different. All of them. No matter what I tried to anticipate or plan for, every single one was extremely unique. For me, I went through different seasons of pretty intense anxiety and depression. And that was another part to my story that felt very isolating. I just wasn't really equipped with how I was potentially going to feel and how that transition in my life was going to change. Not only me as a person, but also my marriage and so much more. So those pieces to my health were my first glimpse at how our health evolves over time. Like stepping into motherhood was my first glimpse into, wow, who I once was and how I once felt is not who I am anymore and how I feel anymore. That was my first glimpse. And I really got another layer into that with every single postpartum journey and every pregnancy. So my fourth kiddo was born at the end of 2019. So right before COVID times. And when he was about 4 months old is when COVID hit and the world shut down. And I was in the thick of postpartum anxiety and depression. The world was shutting down. It was the mid of winter here in Park City, Utah, with millions of feet of snow on the ground. And I remember feeling like I can't be isolated in my house right now. Like I can't have no help, no communication with anyone else, like literally be in here with a newborn, with a toddler and two kids that I'm supposed to homeschool. I remember feeling so scared in that season because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to handle that. Like I knew it was going to be too much.
Mm.
And so by the grace of God, we were able to connect with family and go down and stay with family in Florida for the 3 to 4 months COVID started.
Wow.
And when we came back is when some of the like overwhelming anxiety and overwhelming uncertainty and some of the things that I sort of had to bury because I was in survival mode, just trying to take care of the kids, trying to finish school, trying to do all the things. That's when things really started to unravel for me personally. And that was what, at the time I was 37.
Okay.
And in that season, as things started to unravel for me, I had to get really clear and honest about what were my habits doing and how was I really continuing to take care of myself. Because what I had learned was quote unquote healthy, or what were habits that were serving me at one point in my life were no longer helping me anymore. Like no matter what I was doing, my weight was not budging. No matter what I was doing from a mindset standpoint, my mental health still felt debilitating. No matter what I was trying to implement from like a stress management standpoint or protecting my sleep or just changing up my routines, even how I was fueling my body. Like I tried all kinds of different nutritional strategies to really feel energized from the inside out, and nothing was adding up. And it was really scary for me because I come from a background of being really passionate about wellness.
Yeah.
I've been diving into different aspects of health really my whole life. I've always been active and have loved living a healthy lifestyle to the best of my ability. And in that season, I just remember feeling like, I don't know what's going on. Why is nothing working anymore?
Yeah.
Nothing is adding up. Nothing is working anymore. I feel terrible no matter how on point I try to be with the habits that I knew served me at one point in my life. And that was a wake-up call. And again, this was like 37, almost into my 38th birthday. And that was when I started to dive deeper into female physiology. That's when I started to figure out, okay, there's got to be another layer that I am not understanding or that I have not been educated about.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. At the time, I got connected to one of my mentors and one of my colleagues that I work very closely with now, who is the creator of a program called Sync. And it teaches women basically this in-depth knowledge around hormone health education, learning how to work with our female physiology, learning about how our hormones fluctuate over time in different seasons of our life, and essentially like what those fluctuations are really feel like and what they can, how they can show up in our lives as far as symptoms and how it can make us feel from the inside out for our wellness. And so once I started to dig into that education, it was a whole new world for me. It was fascinating to learn things that I probably should have learned when I was 14, 15, like right in the middle of puberty and starting to get exposure to what a cycle was and what that was going to look like for my life.
Yeah.
The information I was learning at 41 was information I should have learned then.
Hey ladies, real quick, if you are looking for a mentor, I just wanted to remind you that I offer mentorship to entrepreneurs. So if you're someone who has a never-ending to-do list and you're spiraling out of control and feel like your business doesn't have a track plan, I want to work with you every single week for a month at a time. It's super simple, but I come from over 10 years of experience doing this myself, and now I'm willing to give that information back to people. So I've mentored real estate agents, I've mentored wedding photographers, I've mentored other business owners, and they've come from a place of overwhelm mostly, and they really just needed clarity and a couple of action steps to move the needle, and we've seen gigantic leaps and bounds in their business, like I can't even tell you. So if you're interested and you want to know what that looks like, I want you to go to marinatolentino.com, and there's a Calendly link there to do a 15-minute discovery call with me just to see if we're a good vibe check, to make sure we're on the same page, and I would love to work with you one-on-one to really boost your business to the next level. Let's dive back in. Yeah.
And in that season, as I started to get educated, it completely changed the way I looked at my own wellness. It completely changed the way I look at how I coach other women. And it completely changed the way how I talk about really what health from the inside out should look like for us as females, simply because our female physiology is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is health is wildly individual. And that's one of the most important things that I've learned along my personal wellness journey. So, in business, for me personally, I actually started in a direct sales company where it was very one size fits all, cookie cutter, quick fix mentality on the health side. And I evolved very much beyond that through learning and through my own personal wellness that's actually not what serves our longevity wellness the best,
Mm-hmm.
especially again for us as women. And so with hormone health specifically, it really comes down to understanding a couple things. One, what your unique physiology is doing. So that's things like tracking your cycle or paying attention to
Yeah.
how your energy is literally different every single day. It's also starting to learn the habits that actually you can carry with you for your longevity wellness that will serve your physiology well. So that means everything from stress management to supplementation to sleep to fitness to nutrition, all of those things have to be a unique strategy for you. And that was something that I never really had exposure to until my late 30s and
Yeah.
into my 40s as everything stopped working. And I needed to figure out a totally new plan
Mm-hmm.
of what was actually going to serve my wellness, not only right now, but as my health evolved over time, as my hormones started to fluctuate more in midlife, as I was getting into this different season, postpartum, and kind of, a couple years out from having kids, I needed to really learn like what was actually going to help me best.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really where I'm at now, and what I do most in coaching and really in my own life is help women understand, how do you get in tune with your own female physiology? What are the things to help you do that? And then what are the lifestyle habits and tips and tricks and things that we can put into place that are really going to help you feel energized and like you can make progress and like you can show up for your goals in a way that really actually serves you well. So it's
Okay.
been a journey. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give a little more context to like, where did I start to where I am now, and what was the biggest piece of unlock for me as far as information, and that was getting to know how to work with my female physiology.
Yeah. There's so much meat in there we could dive into. And
Yeah, so much.
you're hitting the nail on the head because that's what it is. It's like suddenly you wake up and you realize everything that you thought was the right thing to do does not work anymore. And you're scratching your head, you're searching the internet, and there's all of these generalized blanket statements out there of companies and influencers trying to sell to the masses. And you
Yeah.
just can't do that when it comes to us. We are uniquely you.
Right. Right.
Our physiology is different, our genes are different, our brains are different, like what we're consuming is different. And so it is so true. And I especially love what you said about when we're going through puberty, basically from like 11 to 14, nobody tells us any of this. In fact,
Nobody.
I just asked my mother-in-law the other day, I was like, when Ryan went through puberty, did you like give him the talk? And she's like, no. And I'm like, it's just like, doesn't happen. Right.
Yeah,
And now
doesn't
I'm in
happen.
this phase where I'm like, my son's about to go through puberty. I'm like reading all these books, trying to be like overeducated to give him this best experience of going through puberty as a boy. And it's just such a different time and age, but we have the education at our fingertips now. Let's use it to help the next generation too. So it's not just us as the moms, it's like our kids are going to be going through this. Instead of saying that we all need to be the same way, we can celebrate our differences, and especially us uniquely being us.
Yeah.
So important. And I think, yeah, again, like you need the coaching, you need the one-on-one advocate that's going to be like, you're different than her, and this is why this. So I just did this with my doctor, like I was telling you on your podcast. So I'm low in cortisol, which I had no idea, and it's turning into adrenaline in the morning, which is causing me to sweat every morning, and I could not figure it out for the life of me. I could not move my weight no matter how healthy I ate. Like I could starve myself and work out, and I would not lose weight. And
Right.
it's because I had a metabolic set point that readjusted after pregnancy. So I'm kind of stuck at 185, which is really frustrating. I want to be back into that healthy 170s. Just could not shake the weight. So we're going to try some things. I just read that book called Fast Like a Girl. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I have.
Super good. Just, and it's not that say fasting is for everybody, but it's something you can
Yeah.
try to test and experiment a little bit. I'm also deficient in vitamin D. Who knew? I
Yeah.
live in the Sunshine State and somehow I'm deficient in vitamin D.
Yeah.
It's just all these things I would never know unless I asked for help.
Yeah.
And I think you touched the nail on the head too, where it's like we just feel like we're doing the right things, right? Surely we're okay. but actually there could be some major symptoms and signs to say we're not okay. And this could be major red flags for the future as we hit that prime time for cancer and all these other things too. So talk to me about some of the symptoms you might see in your clients or some things we should really actually be aware of if we're experiencing them. Can you think of any?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I will tell you, even in all the experience I've started to get exposure to with the coaches that I work with, but also in my own coaching practice when I'm seeing clients and talking to women, so often women are going to practitioners, going to their GP, going to their OBGYN, and they're talking about different symptoms that they're experiencing. Maybe it's really debilitating fatigue, or I can't get a grip on my anxiety. I don't know why I feel so anxious all the time. Like my life is pretty good. I feel like I have everything I need. I feel safe, but for
Yeah.
whatever reason, my body is holding on to this tremendous anxiety and I can't seem to get control of it. Low libido is another big one. That's something that I've personally experienced quite a bit. And that's something that
Mhm.
a lot of women experience. You know, there's other things like, I'm trying to think. Depression is another big one. Um, Mood swings is another big one, right? So I personally have gone through seasons where it was either really low lows or really high highs, and there wasn't ever any rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
The symptoms were very real. And for women, oftentimes, like I said, they go to their doctor, they go to their practitioner, and they say, here's what I'm experiencing. And they're sometimes gaslit and not really heard or seen or validated in what they're experiencing. And oftentimes the message is, well, you're just getting older, or well, this is just how it is, or well, you know, you had some babies and you're postpartum and things change and you kind of just have to manage it as it goes. And that's just not the truth,
Mm-mm.
right? Women do not just have to simply manage feeling immense rage, feeling intense anxiety, feeling low libido, feeling really tired all the time, you know, waking up at 2 a.m. unexplained. Like women do not just have to simply manage those things. And even though it's been normalized, one of the things I like to talk about is how normal is not optimal and how what often we hear as normal does not have to be something that we accept.
Yeah.
So again, like from a symptom standpoint, it can be a huge wide range. The key is making sure that you're connecting to knowledgeable practitioners, knowledgeable coaches, or you know, people in the wellness space that have this specific scope of knowledge around women's health and hormone health and truly what starts to happen with our physiology as
Yeah.
we get to a certain point. Typically, it's 35 plus, right? Our hormones get to this place where they start to do this magical roller coaster dance. And that's just how it works. And that's truly what happens with our physiology. And the truth of the matter is there's not a whole lot of education and research about what's really happening to our hormones and in midlife health.
Mhm.
Thank goodness a lot more research is starting to come out. There's more studies in science being, you know, crafted and created on women. There's an amazing documentary coming out about menopause in the
Ooh.
coming weeks. Like there is finally more discussion around this very real physiology change that we go through. But
Yeah.
up until this point, it's been this guessing game and this trying to find a way to have somebody hear me for what I'm experiencing. And that's a journey and a process for a lot of women who already feel exhausted,
Yeah.
right? So it's like if you feel exhausted trying to find a practitioner to actually help you advocate for how you feel, it's going to feel even harder if you're not being heard. And it's going
Yeah.
to feel even harder if people aren't seeing you and validating your experience. So that's one of the things I'm really passionate about as a coach is helping women get to this place of getting educated so they can feel empowered and advocate for their experience, but then also really learn like what are the lifestyle things you can dig into and shift as you're going through these hormonal changes in different seasons of your life to again make sure you're setting yourself up for success from a
Yeah.
longevity point.
So good. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, and I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Work Like a Mother podcast. Real quick, I just want to remind you guys, if you are worried about missing an episode, you don't have to worry anymore because we are creating a weekly email that's going to go out automatically every single time there's a brand new episode. And this email is going to have everything you need to know about this week's featured guest. It's going to have all of the links and the resources that we're going to talk about in this episode. So you don't have to go around and fumble through the show notes, but it's going to be served in your inbox every single week. So if you guys want that access, be sure to click below one time in the show notes today, sign up for that email, and then you'll never have to worry about it in the future. And bonus, if you really love this, we'd love it if you share this with a friend. Give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to, and we'll continue to bring new episodes and new information that's going to help you level up your life every single week. And I think just redefining what healthy is for women, because we have accepted the subpar, we think that this is normal.
Yeah.
A healthy woman should be full of energy. We should be light on our feet. We shouldn't have aches and pains. Like, yes, maybe when you're like actually old, but in our 30s and 40s, this is like
Right.
still peak health. We
Yeah.
should be able to keep up and beat our kids in a race.
Yeah.
Like little things like that, where we just totally let it slide because we accepted that this is normal for 40 or normal for 35. And then I'll look at a couple women, like it's far and few between, who are living that vibrant life. And I'm like, dang, I wish I could be her. Well, guess what? We can be her. We just
Yeah.
need the help to get there.
Totally.
It's so, so true. And I think just raising the bar for ourselves personally,
Yeah.
again, just to be like, no, I'm not going to settle with feeling like crap after I wake up. Like my ring is charging right now, but I love my aura because it really
Yeah.
helps with just like telling me, did I sleep well or not? Like, why do I feel the way that I feel? Oh, I've actually not been rested the last 3 days. And then it's like a forced recognition to me of I need to take this day slow because my body is physically telling me it has not recovered. Like that's all insights I didn't have before. And I would just like drudge along that this must be normal.
Right.
And it makes me a crappy mom. So if we
Yeah.
want to show up as our best version of ourselves, it starts with awareness and it starts with asking for help.
Yeah.
For someone who's never ever asked for help outside of their PCP that's covered by insurance, what does it look like to work with someone like you? Like financially, time wise, like what should someone expect?
So for me personally, I work with women more on the lifestyle side.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I have a 12-week coaching program that starts with the foundations of wellness. So we do like a deep dive health assessment on what does your fitness look like? What does your nutrition look like? What kind of supplementation have you been diving into, if anything? And what do sleep and stress management look like?
Cool.
And then I come up with a very specific and personalized plan based on your physiology that will help you support yourself in those specific areas of wellness. So again, fitness, nutrition, supplementation, sleep, stress management, those
Yep.
5 areas. Now, if you are someone who maybe feels like you have some sort of hormonal fluctuation going on, but you haven't been heard or seen, and you need to get connected to a knowledgeable practitioner, one of the brand partnerships that I feel so grateful for partnering with has a functional medicine practitioner as a part of the practice. So I am also, as a wellness coach, able to very strategically point my clients in the direction of here's the functional medicine doctor you can see, and she will do very targeted testing for you on your body, so then you can start to understand what are the nutritional gaps you're potentially managing, what are the hormonal deficiencies that you maybe are managing, what does your cortisol look like, what are other things that we can continue to address from the data, and then also implement that into the lifestyle plan that I'm creating for you. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a very strategic partnership that I have. It's through an organization or a brand called Sync, and it's got the functional medicine practitioner. It also has resources and education and knowledge and courses. We also have a fitness component. In the new year, we're building out even more on the fitness and nutrition side for continued education and knowledge and resources on how to actually take action in these areas of health. So investment, and as far as time and money, I mean, it depends on really what you would be looking for. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, I have a 12-week program, and the investment is a couple $100s. If you want to work with a doctor and do the double consults and do testing and potentially start on supplementation, et cetera, that can be a couple hundred to a couple thousand, depending on your specific situation. And that's really the biggest thing that I want to empower women to understand is I fully get that it is an investment of time, energy, money. It's no secret that it takes some levels of uncovering to really get to the root cause of what you might be managing. But I can wholeheartedly tell you that the upfront investment of walking alongside somebody that's knowledgeable, that has the hormone health lens, that can really coach you through women's wellness and really give you the data on your specific body, and then give you a personalized and targeted plan to serve your wellness, is worth it. It really truly is. It saves you so much time of extra guessing, trying to DIY, spending dollars on things that you don't even know are actually going to serve you if you don't have the data on your body.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you kind of have to make this mindset shift of saying, you know what, I need to get into this proactive health headspace and really invest, so then
Yeah.
I can come back and say, all right, now I know the exact plan that I need to implement in order to really help myself. And
Mm-hmm.
that is an empowering place to be, rather than feeling like I'm just guessing and I don't really know, and the doctor I'm talking to isn't really helping me. So that would be my best advice: is feel free to reach out to someone like me. I'm always happy to guide you in the direction of hearing more of what you really need, and then saying, this is my best recommendation, or this is my targeted way that I would refer you out to this person, or maybe working with me is the best first step for you. But the key is not being afraid to advocate for you and realizing that you are worth it, right? Your health is worth it, not only now and today, but for your longevity wellness. Like, so much of this is a proactive headspace we have to stay in. So like you said, Marina, we can be around with our kids, run fast, feel energized, feel good, be around for years to come. Like, a lot of this is making sure that we're thinking ahead a little bit too.
Yeah, so good. And I think just keeping the perspective too, of it's not going to be a quick fix,
Right.
changing our body from the inside out takes time. And so it could take a year or two. But if someone promised me, like, if you go get help and you get a customized plan, and in 2 years, you're going to feel like you're 30 again, sign me up. Like, I am a true believer that my 40s is like my second 20s. And I'm so excited to just keep growing and experimenting and living a vibrant life. But I don't want to go into my years with teenagers and be like the sleepy, tired grandma. Like, let's go. I want to be the cool hip mom. And so in order to do that, I got to invest in myself. And that takes time and persistent and like consistency, And so it's kind of like restructuring what are the new habits that you have to take for your body. And so I'm learning too. Supplementation is a big part of that, but I'm not the whiz. I don't know. And I can't go based on whatever 5-star reviews on Amazon. I need to know from a professional what I need.
Right.
So this is super empowering and super encouraging. And I also just recognize too, just having that consultation with someone like you or with my doctor, I felt like it was a therapy session almost. And I got so emotional because I was heard. And like, for the first time in 20 years, someone was asking me about my sex life, like really intimate questions, but like that actually matter, and kind of normalize, like, actually feeling this way isn't normal. Let's get this back over here. Or actually, the way that you're waking up every morning isn't normal. And then you're like, oh, thank you. Like, I'm validated that I can get better, So I'm just so excited for people to discover who you are, discover the program and the assets that you have for them. How do they sign up for the coach, or where do they find you online?
So best place to connect with me right now is on Instagram. I'm at Erin K. Trier. And I have a website, but it's under construction. So that's really not the best place to go. So really, Instagram has all of my links. You can link out to apply to be evaluated for my program. You can email me there, message me there. That's really the place I'm the most active. I also have my podcast, Empowered in Health, on Apple, Google, Spotify, et cetera. So if you ever want to just hear more of my story, hear from some of the other women that I coach alongside, hear about my brand partnerships, all of those things, it's another great way to start to just get exposure to the work I do and really the way I serve in the women's health space. So those are really the best places to connect.
Amazing. Awesome. So we'll definitely link all of that in the show notes below so everyone can get that. And we end every episode with a fun rapid fire. So what is your Starbucks order?
Ooh, Starbucks. I'm not really a Starbucks person.
That's okay.
But I will say, like, if I go to Starbucks, I usually just get like a mocha, small, like whatever the small is. What's the small? I don't even know what it is.
Tall. Yeah.
Tall. I don't know. Yeah. It's a mocha. I like a just old plain mocha.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. What do you make for dinner if it's last minute?
Spaghetti usually.
Oh yeah, that's a go-to. Easy. What's your favorite department of Target? Do you have one and a favorite designer?
Ooh, I would say I really love the athleisure wear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a favorite designer. I feel like their athleisure wear is just getting better and better with all the different brands they have in there. So I really like it.
Yeah, I've actually noticed a significant increase in the attention to trends and stuff the last year. It's been fun to see.
Yeah.
Name a book or a podcast you'd recommend.
Podcast I'd recommend. I really love Lewis Howe's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one.
Great storyteller. Yeah. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we talked about that. Okay, so that's wraps up this episode. So good. I'm so excited to get this out to more women. And I really hope that they share this with their girlfriends because, we talk about it on the DMs and in our group chats that, hey, are you guys dealing with this? Because I am too. And just kind of normalizing the unknown and like the lack of control that we feel. I think it's a totally normal thing to go through as you mature and age. And so let's normalize getting help as well and asking for customized help. So excited. So thanks for your time today and we'll be in touch.
Thanks so much, Marina.